All right. All back. Okay. So still having issues with my air page. I don't know what's up with that. Got to do a little bit more research, I suppose. But what I did do is I added that router.all inside of my else if. So, well, not my for loop rather. So inside my for loop, and I said if endpoint is equal to hero, do all that stuff. Else if endpoints dot includes endpoint. So I changed that from else to else if, and then do all that other stuff, and then else there's the error which is not working, but and also added. Well, I just adjusted the size of my screen really, but tinkered with this a little bit. So there I got a home, hero. We can go back to powers, species, franchise, team. All right, cool. So now we want to do this form. Okay, so I want this to be all like on the heroes page. Okay, so when you go to the heroes page, I want to be able to add a hero right here. Okay, so I'm gonna start this out in hero, well, all hero.ejs. No, yeah, that's right, all hero.ejs. Um, so I have this one row that has all of the heroes. What I'm going to do is above that row, I'm going to just make another row right here. In this row, I'm just going to create some text. I'll say um, do a p tag, and I'll give this a class. Um, add hero text, and it'll say add a new hero, and then inside of there, do an anchor tag href, and this is going to be the link to where I want to create a new hero. Okay, so I'll call this /hero uh, form. I do hero dash uh, make do camel case hero form. Although I probably shouldn't do something right now because uh, I don't want it to. Well, no, that's fine. And I'll say here. So I just want some text right there. And I will give this a class. I think this should work if I say text end. So add a new hero here. And I refresh, and there it is. Add a new hero here. So it's going to break right now if I click on this because there's no hero form. So let me stop that. Yeah, we go look here. Unknown column, hero form, and where clause. Oh, so it's a bunch of stuff going on here. Oh, yeah, because yeah, we did some weird stuff. All right. So, oh, yeah, I know that's right because we have to create a certain route for that. Okay. All right. Um, so matter of fact, let's change this from hero/hero form. I'm gonna change this to just hero form. So it's gonna take me to hero form. Okay. And so now let's go ahead and create this hero form. So here in pages, I'm going to create a new file. This is going to be heroform.ejs. And inside of heroform.ejs, the same things I've always done. I'm going to include the header and the footer. All right, so we need to build out a form. I'm gonna do main, class main, ID hero form main. And in here, I need a form. So I'm gonna do a form, give it a class form, give it an ID of hero form. Uh-oh. And so this is what we have so far. And what we want to do in this form is we want to basically have the want to be able to collect the information here, and then we want to post it. So we're going to do some stuff here inside of this form tag. Not just yet. Before we get there, let's build out this actual form. Okay. I'm using some bootstrapping here for this form, just for some layout. I hope that you're, styling this as you want to. I'm not styling mine just yet. That may be later, but right now, again, I like to do my layout first. But anyways, here we go. I'm going to make a row, and I need to refer back to my database. And again, make sure I'm collecting all this information here. We're getting everything that I need to get. So again, I don't need the hero ID. That's going to be created automatically, but I do need the hero name. Okay, so let's make a label. No, row. Let's do a column next. Let's do a column. And also on this row, I'm going to add a class MB-3 just to give a little margin at the bottom of it. So there's my column. And here in this column, I'm going to do a label for, and this is going to be for the hero underscore name. And I'm writing, no, I'm going to say hero name, camel case that. Also going to give us a class form dash label. That's a bootstrap class. And I'll just say hero name. I mean, I could text capitalize, make my life simpler. I just like to do that. Just let Bootstrap take care of that. Hero name. Okay. And then provide an input. So this input, the type is going to be text. The ID needs to match what we have here in our for attribute. So it's going to be hero name. Now the name, this attribute is very important because this attribute is going to be the actual key that is getting passed. So the name attribute, whatever value that we give here, whatever we store in here, it needs to be written the same manner that we have in the database. Otherwise, it's not going to connect. It's going to create a property for a field that does not exist if we don't spell it correctly. We have to type it in, key it in exactly the same way that we have it in our database. So name is hero_name. See, and that matches what we have in the database. So please make sure that in your name, all of your name attributes, that they look the exact same way as they do in your database. So I got my hero name. And then I'm going to do a class form-control. Okay. And that's it for my input. And I like to put the little self-contained tag right there. So, and let me just put all these on different lines so you could check and make sure that yours is written like so. Make sure you have all that information in there. Okay. And that's all that we need. Yep. And I mean, what we could do also for this, because I would like for my data to be normalized. What I could do, well, with class, I can also add text dash uppercase, and I think that will automatically uppercase everything that we have here in the text. And I'm doing this simply because all of the hero names, like all the data that I'm getting into my database, is already capitalized, and I want to keep it that way. So I think this is what I think this is going to work. I'm not sure. Okay. So anyways, there's that column for the hero name. I'm simply going to copy this whole entire column, and I'm going to paste it again. Now, when I come here and I look at this, let's see, franchise ID, species ID, those values cannot be null. Everything else can be null, so I don't need to set anything to required here. But if I needed to, I would just add the required attribute. Okay, so there's my hero name. So the next one is first name. So this would be for first name. And I would change this to first name. Here, the ID, again, the ID is going to match the for attribute. So that would be first. And the hero, the name attribute, that's got to be the same thing as we have here. So first underscore name. So you always want to make sure, you know, when you're naming things and when you're creating your database and you're building out your tables and adding your fields, you want to think about names that have a certain format that you can easily use and capture in the back end when you're building out your API. So all that stuff is important. And then even when you're building out your templates, etc., all this stuff is very important. So you want to make sure all of that flows. So there's a column for first name, and right below that column, we do a third column, and this will be last name. And that's going to be last name. And then this is going to be last name. Okay. And I think I'll put up those three in one row. So I'll make a new row. And give all this row also have a MV-3. And I need a column for alias. So this will be, the for attribute will be alias. The text will be alias. ID is going to be alias. Name is going to be alias. And again, I'll leave that text uppercase. All right. The next column. The franchise ID and the species ID. So these are going to be different because what we're going to do here, what we need to do for these is we need to use the radio buttons. So we're going to make radio buttons here and say, hey, it's got to be, because the radio button, it has to be either or, right? They are mutually exclusive. So I'm going to make a little class radio div inside this column. And let's see. I don't know. I know there's some. Let's see. Radio. Checks and radios. Here we go. Checks radios. I'll just use this. So let's see. Form check. How they have these. Nothing in particular. It just puts them all on their own line. Okay, I mean that's fine. We can use that. Okay, so let's see. Let's say form dash check. And inside the form check, we need to input. And the input has a class form check input. So this type is going to be radio. Oh, this is not. Oh, I guess so. Form check input. Yeah. So form check input. The type will be radio. And the class will be form dash check dash input. And the ID. And we need to get and we need to give it a value as well. So ID let's see. Oh, let's give it a name. I know it needs a name. So this name is going to be franchise ID. The value is going to be I need this is where I need my franchises. So DC is 1. So what I'm going to do is for the value, I'm just going to put 1. And the ID is going to be, I could put DC. And I'll do a label for, again, that matches the ID. So for DC, also form, it needs a class form check label. Form dash check class form dash check dash label. And right here, I'll type in DC. So let's look at this. So input type radio class form check input. The name, again, that name is important because that's the key that's getting passed in. All right. I don't need those on. I can put these on same line. That's fine. That one is fine. All right. So there we go. This is how we want it to look. And so I need to do these for all of them. So let me copy that, paste it. I think we got 6. So IDW is next. So franchise the ID. I think it's the value of 2. This is IDW. 4 IDW, and change this to IDW. Paste that form check. All these are in the side of the column. Image rather, I'm sorry. So this is a value of 3. ID of image, 4 image, and then label of image. Now we can do this because there's only a small number of franchises. If we were doing this with, a lot of different ones, like I say 10 or more probably, then we would want to do a for loop. We would need to say, hey, give me all of the, we would need to actually make a connect to the API and say, hey, for each franchise, make this, make these form check divs with these particular entries in there. And that would be the better way of doing this, because that way we can make sure that the IDs and the values match what is in the actual database. Again, with something this size, we don't have to worry about that. But if we were working with something larger, like say we were doing the powers, then we would definitely want to loop through and build out these radio buttons in another way. Mirage, this has an ID of 5. And lowercase that. And capitalize this one. And I got one more, and that is Skybound. All right. And so before I go any further with this, I want to look at this and make sure that this is working so far. We're not finished with this form. We still got more stuff to add in this form. Okay. But let's get this to work. So make sure it's connected. So if we go back again to all hero and we say, hey, click on /hero form, then that's going to take us to this hero form. So we need to create a route for it. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to put that above these endpoints. Yeah, I'm going to do that here. So this is going to be my hero form. I'm going to say router.get / /hero form. In other words, localhost 3000 /hero form. Takes a request and a response. And we're going to response.render pages /hero form. And we're going to say the title, be hero form. The name, I'll just say add a hero. And we need to make sure they pass in endpoints because that's what we need for our navigation. So this should work. Make sure my server is running, and it is looking good. Okay, so excuse me. Come back here to the browser, click add a new hero here, and there's my hero form. Looks like I don't have it inside of a container unless I misspelled something. But yeah, there's my hero name, first name, last name, alias, and there goes my radio button. So far, kind of good. Hero form, yeah, I don't have it inside of a container. So I'm gonna take underneath my main here inside of hero form. I forgot. Let me add a container, and I'm gonna add all this entire form inside of my container. Get my margin straight. Come back over here and refresh. There you go, looking much better. And then what I also would like to do is for these radio buttons, I don't want them just aligned vertically like so. Is for my radio div, watch this. I can add D-flex to it. And when I do that, now they're aligned horizontally. Cool. I can also say justify. I could say, I think it's flex wrap. I think that's it, to make sure that they'll wrap. I believe that's correct. Let me check just to verify. Come back to you. Let's see. Flex. If I want to wrap something. Let's justify content. I'm going to add that. Align items. Align self. Blase blah. Fill. Grow. Shrink. Oh, there it is. Wrap. Deflex. Flex. No wrap. Or I just say flex wrap. Okay, cool. So I don't have to say flex wrap. I just say flex wrap. And I want to say justify content around. Okay. And above this, in this column, I'm going to add, I guess this would be a H. I'll just make it a P tag. I'll say form-text, and I'll say, what is this? This is franchise, right? So there we go. So just so I can put like a little label there that says, hey, this is where you click on the franchise. So now I come back over here and refresh. Looks much better. Cool. So, and let me check another thing here. So for hero, who's a hero that we haven't done yet? My least favorite, Cyclops, and it does capitalize. It does put in all caps. Cool. I despise. I'm reading this X-Men series, this new one, and I really don't like that guy. All right. But so far, looking good. Okay. So there's our radio div. Now, what I want to do is I want to continue. I need another radio div, and this one is for the species. Okay. And I will put that below this div. So let's see, where is this div in? I'm going to add one more thing to this div. I'm going to say MB-3. This will also go in the column. So follow that all the way down to the bottom of that div. Cool. Make a P tag. I'm going to give it form-text and species. And I'll need another div. Basically, this exact same thing. So radio div, all that other stuff. Radio div d dash flex, flex dash wrap, justify content. I think we said around MB dash 3. Make sure that's everything we added. Radio div deflex flex wrap justify content around MB-3. Yep. Okay, cool. And so now what I can do, these form checks, they're going to look exactly the same. So I'm just going to copy this one right here, paste it below. But now instead of having the franchise, I'm going to add the species. So here, this is going to be, the name is going to be species ID. And the value is going to be 1. And that is for an alien. So ID alien, label for alien, and make this alien. Just copy that form check right there. So there's less stuff I had to change. After alien is beast. So species ID of 2. ID of beast. 4. Beast. Beast. Paste. What's after beast? God. Value 3. Label God. ID God. Four is Hellspawn. Next, see human. See, 6 is humanoid. Seven is mutant. 8 is mutate, I believe. Yep. And 9 is cyborg. All right. Got that. Let's refresh. Cool. Looks good. All right. Don't particularly like that right there, but that's just a matter of the columns. I mean, I could easily, for this row, this particular row, the alias, I can make this, I can say column -3 in front, and this column here, I can give it column -9, and that'll justifies that. There we go. Because I don't need that much space for alias. Okay, moving right along. So we got hero name, first name, last name, alias, franchise ID, species ID. We need place of origin, first appearance, alignment, and image URL. So place of origin, let's make a new row. So here in that row, well, that row is there. Then we got this one that ends all the way down here. And like I said, you, depending on the size of the items that you want to select from, you would more than likely want to loop through them and then build out a column with the inputs and whatnot, which again, that will require you to actually connect to the database to actually get the information that you want. Okay, so anyways, here we go. Let's make another row with MB-3. I don't know how that got there. MB-3. Okay. And going to make a column. In this column, this is what for place of origin. Looks essentially the same as one of these babies up here. So I'm just going to copy this label and input and make it easy for myself. Okay, and paste that right there. So for, I'll say place of origin. Okay, and I'll have here place of origin. Matter of fact, let me just move that up right there like so. Just make it a little more readable. Okay, cool. So input type is going to be text ID. Again, these look the same as 4. So place of origin. Okay, and the name needs to be written as it is inside of the database. Place _of _origin. And text uppercase. Yep, cool. And first appearance. Okay. So what we can do, let's copy this column. I'm going to paste it right there. And let's see, first appearance. So I'll say first app right here. I'll say first appearance. My type, I'm going to use number here. ID, Again, that needs to look the same. First app name, I believe first underscore app. Yep. First underscore app. I'm going to add here because with the year data type inside of SQL, the minimum value you can have is 1901 or 1901. The maximum value you can have is 2155. And I found out the reason why is because of the amount of space, because I believe that range totals 255 bytes, I believe. So that's why it can only be that. So I'm going to say the minimum can be 1901 and the max can be 2155. And we'll say step to be 1. So this way you can't do any fractional values. Okay. The minimum 1901, max 2155, and again step. So that way it'll increment by 1. Yeah, okay, that's that. And then we need the alignment. So the alignment is going to look like a form check or radio. So I'll make another column right here. And I'll give us another radio dash div dash what I do d dash flex flex dash wrap justify content dash around. Okay, I don't need to worry about MB3 here. I'll do a p tag. Nope, before that, above that, I'm gonna do a p tag form dash text, and this will be alignment. Okay, and so we just need 3 of these radio buttons. So let me come over here and grab one of these form checks. So the name is going to be alignment. The value is going to be hero. The ID is going to be hero. I'll put that lowercase. For hero, and change this to hero. Grab that form check once you got that. Copy it and paste it 2 times. So the next one is going to be anti-hero. Let's be anti-hero. And let's be anti-hero. And lastly, villain. And ID and 4 need to match. Bless you, villain. And we need to add one more, and that is the image. Okay, and I'll just put that on its own row. So where this row ends, make another row, MB-3, and this will be, I will have a label Let me see if they have anything particular. See form, see input group. Nope, not doing select form control. File input. I guess that'll work here. So we can do something like this. So we can use like this example here. So need a label for image URL. I'm sorry. Needs a class form dash label. I'll say hero image. Of course, I'm not going to add any because I mean, just I don't want to. Not right now, at least. So input will be file. Class form control. Also, again, it needs a name. And the name is going to be what we have here, image underscore URL. And I think that's it. Let's see. Oh, yeah, I need an ID to match that. There you go. So ID is equal to image URL. All right. And one last thing that we need for our form is we need a button to submit it. So we're going to do a row MB-3. And I'm going to make a button. Just getting a class BTN. I'll just do primary for right now. Class BTN. The type is going to be button. Role. Is that right? Yeah. No, role is going to be button. Type is submit. And we'll put in here add hero. Move all this to separate lines. So you can see a little better. And that should be it with the actual form. Let's come back over here and see what it looks like. Refresh. Ooh, look at that. Oh, look at that button. Okay, so yeah, I think I don't like that. So with that button, it's because I have it in a row. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll just get rid of that row. And I'll just have that sitting outside the form, which means I probably don't need to put all these. I'll have it sitting. It needs to sit inside of the form, rather. I just don't want it to be inside of a row. So let me refresh this. There we go. That's much better. All right, so there we have a form. And by using Bootstrap, I should be able to see if I inspect it. And let's say I put it on an iPhone 14. There's it's cluttered up a lot, but I mean I could fix that. I haven't been going for full like responsiveness or whatever, but we have something there. There's our form. Check and make sure that you can these radio buttons work like so. Okay. Um, and when we get back, so on the because this has been a lot for this video. It's almost an hour long. Whew. Uh, we'll come back to this and then we'll see how we can collect the data and send it to the right place. Okay. So we'll pause here. I need a break because this was long. And on the other side of this video, we'll see if we can get this form to actually work. So I will see you then.